This is Carla at the Jackson County Public Library in Ripley, and this is another segment of Tidbits of History. Today's subject is going to be Otmer Riley and the scrapbook that came to us several years ago. And I have with me today Mike Rubin and Susanna Holstein, and I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves and we'll get started.
Yeah. Well, as Carla said, I'm Susanna Holstein, also known as Granny Sue when I'm storytelling. I'm a founding member of the West Virginia Storytelling Guild, and I do a ghost walk here in Ripley every fall under the auspices of the Ripley Convention and Visitors Bureau. So that's where my interest in this story began. It's a strange tale, and it's one I think deserves a lot more attention than it's gotten.
And I'm Mike Rubin. I'm with the Jackson County Historical Society, and I have a real interest not only in history but in Otmer's history especially.
Okay, the first thing I would like for you guys to explain to us is how we came by the scrapbook, how it came to be at Jackson County Library.
You know that.
The interesting thing about this, that Otmer he was born in 1876, and he began keeping this scrapbook, I would say, in his later teen years, and he participated in a lot of community events, plays and musicals and things like that. He loved to entertain, and he loved to keep a scrapbook. So in the early years of the scrapbook, he kept it, and then Otmer passed away at a relatively early age, and his mother took over the scrapbook. She put his obituary on the final pages, and then his mother died, and she passed it on to one of Otmer's sisters, and then she passed away, and from there on it passed down to three other family friends, and ended up covering 5 states over a century, and ended up in a dumpster in a North Carolina retirement community, and that's the story about before it arrived here in Ripley.
So
Yeah.
somebody actually got it out of the dumpster, correct? And
One of the administrators at the nursing home spotted it in the dumpster and retrieved it, and she held on to it for 15 years. And then she approached the library in Brevard, North Carolina, and that's when they contacted the library here in Ripley, and that is what led to the book being returned to the Ripley community.
And it was a big deal when they brought it back. I mean, there was an article in the paper about it, and the person had driven, 7 hours to get it back to us, and we've had it ever since. And it's absolutely an amazing picture of the past and this one person's life.
And sort of the ironic thing about the location of the library, it's less than a block from where we understood that Otmer and the Riley family lived here in Ripley, directly behind Epworth United Methodist Church.
So it's came home.
Right. Which church his mother and his uncle were very instrumental in building. Right there, I suppose on their property, because it was right there on the corner, right beside the home in which he grew up in.
And not only that, but Otmer's sister married the pastor at the Epworth Church as well.
So very, very interconnected with
Yes.
the church.
And this whole area. I mean, it's just amazing to have this piece of history that's very personal and very interesting. There's some really intriguing parts of this that, if you guys want to elaborate on some of that.
You want to talk about Otmer's early life?
Sure.
Start at the beginning.
Sure, yeah. He was born, evidently, the oldest child to his parents. They were married in the winter of 1875, and he was born October of 1876. And according to everything I've read about him, he seemed to have been very musical, very gifted theatrically. He was one of those people you would think would be the life of the party. And girls evidently were very attracted to him for whatever reason. Because, he wasn't, if you see pictures of him, he's not that prepossessing a person. He's not overtly handsome. And he was about, what you said, 5 feet 4 inches tall and thinly built. He got a job with the railroad, but they couldn't take him on because he couldn't pass their physical. So it tells you that he was frail, perhaps sickly as a child. It's hard to know for sure. The family had a lot of trouble. There had been 2 children who died at a young age, in infancy. So, and then with Otmer, you wonder, if there was just a frailty just within the family itself. I don't know. But yeah, but he was evidently the life of the party. If you look through the scrapbook, you see the flyers and the programs from all the different events that he'd been involved in, and just pictures of girls and sweet little notes. And he was vain. One has to say he was a little on the vain side, but and honestly, quite a few young men. That's not unusual.
And we have a photo of Otmer from his early years. Why don't you share that? But this
Let me
is what
see it.
Otmer would have looked like. I would imagine he's 13, 14 years of age in that photo.
Yeah, and he looks quite the dandy there, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And very well posed. But then again, and the tradition of the time, when you had your picture taken, it was kind of a big deal. You did do something kind of special for your having your picture taken.
And the Riley family was fairly well-to-do.
Yes.
The father, he worked at a local bank and was also a political figure here in the Jackson County community. So they were fairly well off.
Yeah, and his mother too. Her family had been in Ripley a long time. Had built the first brick house in Ripley, the first and oldest brick house in the town. So his family had a lot of deep roots here in Jackson County. He also, he worked at several different jobs. He kind of bounced around. And where you said, Mike, that he said that he tried several different entrepreneurial businesses and didn't do well. Said he couldn't sell a silver dollar for 50 cents. So, obviously, he wasn't a good salesman. But he did sign up for the Army during the Spanish-American War. He ended up in the military band. So I'm not sure what kind of action he actually saw. But he was in the Army about a year before he was honorably discharged.
I think Otmer tried to follow his father's footsteps. His father had been pretty active in the Civil War.
That's true.
And Otmer joined the Army when he became of age, and as you mentioned, he played in the band. But Otmer tried his way in working at several different business endeavors in the Ripley and Charleston communities. They weren't successful, so what did he do? He turned to banking, which was his father's profession, and he had considerably more success in that field.
Right. I wonder if his father's connections probably helped him get started, but also the fact that he had several business ventures, that he had been in the military, probably all of that helped him to get some good jobs. And he started out, where was the first bank, Mike?
His first job in banking came in Montgomery, which is
That's right.
in eastern Kanawha County. And from there, he just continued to move up to larger banks and became more successful. He was considered a young phenom in the banking community. He worked in Montgomery, then he moved up into Randolph County, and then had a bank in Tucker County.
Yeah, that one in Tucker County, it was the Miners and Merchants Bank, and they approached him when he was still working, I believe, in Beverly. He was approached by some businessmen who wanted to start this bank in Thomas and invited him to come, so he did. And he joined that bank as it started, and it was there that one of his romances got very serious. What was that lady's name? Lena, yes. Lena, I can't remember her last name. Shoot, what was her name? Lena, you know it?
I can't remember Lena's last name, but
I can't remember.
it's interesting that as Otmer climbed in the banking industry, he established girlfriends in each of these communities, and then he would date them for a while and moved on. And if you look in the scrapbook of the different letters and things that he exchanged with his girlfriends, he had girlfriends in West Virginia stretching from Point Pleasant all the way over to Elkins. So he was quite the ladies' man.
Right, and he had evidently told Lena that they couldn't marry for whatever reason. And so she ended up marrying someone else. And to him, I think he wrote it in his thing, it was a heartbreak to find out that she had married someone else. So maybe he cared about Lena more than he was letting on. So he left that bank and went home for a while. And yeah.
There were some problems with one of the banks, and he lost his job.
Right, that bank went into whatever they call it.
Federal receivership or whatever it's
yeah,
called.
yeah.
But and he left the banking industry, and this was sort of the beginning of the end of Otmer Riley, because he went from banking. He worked for a grocer. He did the bookkeeping for a grocery company based in Doddridge County, and that was sort of the beginning of the end. He had been climbing up through the banking industry, and now all of a sudden his health begins to fail him somewhat. and he has a job in the grocery industry, and that didn't really work out real strong. And then he had all types of problems back home too, in dealing with some deaths in the family.
Right, his older sister died in childbirth, and then the child died 3 months later. So here you have his mother, Mrs. Riley, who had not only lost 2 children in infancy herself, but then lost her daughter. This was 1904, and then lost the grandchild as well. So things were not happy at all at the Riley household.
And about the same time, he says in the scrapbook that his favorite aunt also passed away, as someone I guess he was very close to. So Otmer was dealing with a lot of death in the family at the time. It was a tough time, not only from a career standpoint, but from a personal standpoint as well.
Right, so it seems that he suffered some sort of mental breakdown. He had come home another time for a short rest and seemed to be better and went back to working, and then came back again after he left West Union and came back to Ripley and entered the hospital. He was in that hospital for a while and seemed to be doing all right. He seemed to be getting better. He was writing cheerful letters to his mother, and things seemed to be good. And then either he left or was discharged from the hospital. You see 2 different reports of that. But he left with his overcoat, was seen leaving the hospital, evidently to return to Ripley.
And this was about right before Christmas of 1905. That's when he moved back home and started seeking professional help in the Parkersburg community.
Right.
He was treated for depression. He was admitted to the hospital. And of course, remember, this is 1905, so
Yeah.
they did not know as much about mental health in that time frame as we do today. And he was on some medication, and I understand that the medication had its side effects, and one of the side effects of the medication he was taking was that it could lead to paranoia. And that was apparently the case with Otmer, because he thought that someone was out to get him. He thought that someone was trying to kill him, and that played heavy on his mind.
Right, and he knew in between the bouts of this paranoia and delusions, he knew that it wasn't true, because he could talk about it to his family, and he knew that it wasn't true, and yet it would come back on him and he would fall back into it again. So when he left you want to talk about that, when he left the hospital?
He left the hospital and bought a ticket in Parkersburg for the train, took the Ohio River line down to Millwood, and then took the separate train. It was the Ripley and Mill Creek Valley Railroad that went from Millwood 13, 14 miles into Ripley. And he boarded that train, and he thought that someone on the train was out to get him, was trying to kill him. So at one point he jumped from the train in an effort to get away with them, and he ran, I understand, a few hundred yards, jumped a fence, and they found his body. He was on the ice in Mill Creek, and it was an unusual situation in how they found him later, that his feet and his face were under water, under the ice, but the torso of his body was resting on the ice of Mill Creek. So it was an unusual situation.
Right, you try to understand how it happened that way, and according to what I was reading, it looked like he had run 15 or 20 feet on the ice and had slipped and fallen perhaps, which maybe explains how his feet got in the water and his face. And according to some accounts, he had been out of breath and probably died before he actually was in the water.
So he didn't drown.
As far as that report said, now that's hard to know
Yeah.
if that's factual or not.
And so that happened on February 16th, 1906. So we see the ascension of Otmer, and the Otmer decline was just as fast as his ascension in the professional world.
Right, he was only 29 years old, so he was quite young.
And then you have the story, we get back to the scrapbook, and so many different people, after as I mentioned earlier, his mother or someone in the family had added his obituary to the final pages of the scrapbook, and then his mother passed away, and I understand that she passed it on to a sister, and then her sister passed away without a family, and she passed it on to a friend, to another friend, to another friend, and finally, when this person died in the retirement community in North Carolina, there was no one left to take care of her belongings, so it ended up in the dumpster. And one of the administrators of the retirement community there found it and saved it. And she took it home and I guess forgot about it over the course of time, and it lasted in her home for 15 years. And then she contacted the library there in North Carolina, and that's what started the trail, pardon the pun, of getting the scrapbook back to where it belongs, near Otmer's home right here in Ripley.
It's amazing. This whole story is just amazing. His life was really incredible and intriguing, and it would make a great movie or a story, I think, anyway. And also how the scrapbook came home to us is amazing. I mean, it's just like a whole series of unlikely events for both his life and the scrapbook coming back. It's just this is one of my favorite stories.
What I love too, because it shows so much of the early history of Jackson County, or of Ripley, the opera company and the different you could see how busy and active the town's arts community actually was during the time that he was a young man. And that's fascinating.
I didn't even realize we had an opera company. I think that was like really interesting. Yeah.
Well, they called them Opera House. Of course, it wasn't opera.
Well, still.
It was for performance art, but yeah.
It's really cool. And we'll take a minute here and go through the pages, and I'll show you some of the pages. But you guys can come in and look at this under supervision if you want to see the actual scrapbook. And we'll let you actually look at it. It's really cool.
This photograph is Otmer in his 20s, I would assume, during the height of his climb in the banking industry around West Virginia.
That's really, he looks very dapper in this one, doesn't he? Okay, so I'm going to pause the recording here, and then we'll open up the scrapbook and take a look at it.
My camera, but I can't do diddly with mine.
Okay, we're going to start going through the scrapbook a little bit and give you a peek at it. I'm going to carefully turn it over like this first, because that is the house that he was born in, where he lived in. And you guys said it was where? Probably?
It's my understanding that it was located on North Street, which at the time would have been one of the wealthy neighborhoods of Ripley, where the a lot of the business owners and prominent merchants would have lived.
Yeah, and the politicians, right? And a lot of those homes are still standing, but this one is not. I believe the location of this one is where the parking lot is behind Epworth Church.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But there were judges and physicians and other prominent people who lived on North Street.
Yeah. So literally a block away. I feel like I should have gloves on. I don't know who that one is. Do you guys remember? Miss Riley, is that his mom?
Must be.
It would have been Laura.
Laura?
It's Laura. Oh, he does favor his mother.
Yeah. Let's see if there was a name on the back. My old pal is all it says. Maybe, was that his aunt, maybe?
Not sure.
There's his father. W.W., that was his father.
This one here. And then was that him?
Yeah.
Their elder son, O.T.
Mm-hmm.
And then his mom.
Okay, so that probably was his mother in the other picture. They're very like her. And there was a picture here
That's like totally, yeah. Oops.
And
O.H. or O.A. Riley.
O.A. Riley.
Otmer Adelbert Riley. Interesting.
Adelbert, yeah.
Adelbert.
Interesting middle name.
Yep. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
I've heard Adelbert with a D, but not Adel.
This is some of his early correspondences. Anyway, it's a fascinating read if anyone wants to come in and take a look at it. Is that him too? God, I'm scared. I'm gonna tear this. I know you guys are looking at this upside down, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right.
Just a card. The Oddfellows. Was he a member of the Oddfellows, or is that just a playbill?
On the amateur stage. it
Oh,
says.
okay, yeah.
Good crowd. Good crowd. Now that pleases every actor, does it not?
Yep.
For every performer. And
It,
those-
it amazes me that this has lasted over 100 years.
100
like-
years and through 5 different people and 5 different states, I understand.
Yeah,
Evidently, people thought it was special enough that they preserved it.
There
Yeah.
you see Opera House.
Jackson Comedy Company. How about that?
that's pretty cool.
Doing a piece called Mixed Pickles.
Pickles. I love it. Who is this?
It'd be nice if we had a comedy company now.
I know. This is some Otmer and Inez.
That would have been a sister, I believe.
Yeah,
Oh,
Inez-
okay.
I believe that was the sister who passed away.
I can't read the
I
first
believe
name.
that Inez, I believe, married the minister at Epworth Church, and
Oh,
she
she's
is
the
the
one-
one who passed away during childbirth.
Oh, wow. That's sad. That would have been a really rough time for anybody to lose all those people at once and have your career starting to fall apart and the person you probably really loved marry somebody else.
Yeah.
It's Otmer and S.G. Starcher at the Evans Fairground. It's another letter.
At the Evans Fairground.
Yep. Which may be another future tidbit of history because the Evans Fairground isn't there anymore.
True. What do we have here?
We have
This is the
book.
Jackson County Courthouse, and I believe this is Court Street
yeah.
in Ripley. One time it was also called Front Street, but
It's amazing you can still recognize that.
The buildings.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Who's this one?
What is that building at the bottom there, Carl?
It says Glenville Normal School
that
Building.
would have been Glenville, what became Glenville State College, and he went to school for a year in Glenville, and he also attended Mountain State Business College in Parkersburg before he took off on his own.
Uh-huh. I've never heard him as a normal school.
There
As
was a normal school in Ripley too called the Lee Normal School, and it was operated by the Lee family, and it was a pretty large. It was a teachers' college, and they would come here from
Right.
all over this
Wow.
part of the state to become certified as a teacher.
So it sounds like at one point maybe he considered becoming a teacher. He went
Maybe.
to Glenville Normal School because that was a
True.
teaching college. I don't know who this lovely lady is.
I
Maybe-
don't know.
One of his girlfriends, perhaps.
She's very pretty.
She is.
Mimeograph, oh wow.
Yeah. Gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen those. Some more of the information, which is hard to read on camera, so we're going to kind of go by those and spend more time with the pictures. But like I said, you guys can come in and look at this if you like. This is where he worked.
Oh, there's an
It's
old,
like 5 months with this outfit.
Looks like an old map of West Virginia. Turn
Yeah.
that page over there and see
I
if
think
that is. I think it's been torn in two.
it looks like he shows his route of travel here.
You know,
It does,
I had
in
not
the
noticed that
blue,
before. That is
yeah.
neat.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's marked.
that's
where
pretty cool.
He went
I don't
from
have that
Ripley
measured.
to Montgomery and then up into the Elkins area of West Virginia.
Looks like he made
That's
a-
pretty cool. Even some in Virginia, it
It
looks
looked
like.
like, it looked like he made a little jog down to the south there in the
Yeah.
state too. He goes trip down that way for some reason or other.
Yeah.
That may have been in connection with his military time or who knows.
Could have been.
Or his theatricals.
Now, did he ever act? Do you know, was he in these plays? Or
Mhm.
that's
Oh,
what
yes.
I thought.
At some
And
point
at
he
one
was-
point, it mentions that
in the
he was in a circus
Yeah,
for,
in the circus.
for a brief
So
period of time.
maybe that
They
was
could-
the circus.
It could have been.
Yeah.
Otmer obviously loved to perform.
Yep.
That old map is just.
That is so cool.
just really.
I am so afraid to touch these things. The New European Public Show. 5 months with this outfit. So I guess he worked with them.
Ah, that must have been.
It might have been the circus.
That may have been.
Raised the tent, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
He wasn't afraid of adventure, was he?
Not a
No.
bit.
To try new things.
Bert Sandy, Scrubby. I guess that was a friend probably, or a coworker.
One of the characters in one of
Yeah.
his productions he was involved with.
So cool. Here's one of the bank things.
The Bank of Ripley.
He signed that himself.
Yeah.
Picture.
This one is, let me get over here.
I believe there's a date on the bottom of that one, Carla.
1898, and I think it's that one, that's the large one you showed earlier with him and his hat.
Oh, so 1898. He would
Yeah.
have been. Let's see, he was born in 76. He would have been 22.
Hmm.
20,
Wow.
22. He looks so young then.
Yes, he does.
I would have guessed
Very.
14, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Yeah, he looks very young. Guess I just did my math wrong. Oh, it may concern.
This is about his reenlistment.
Oh,
He was. This is discharge papers. It looks like.
it says
Discharge.
here, yeah, mustered out.
Mhm.
Interesting handwriting.
Yes,
too.
it's beautiful, and it's hard to read, or at least I have trouble reading. I had to really look at it. And then this is Ripley Post Office.
Which would have been on the North Street
Right.
at the
Okay.
time.
Right.
There's a photography studio on the second floor of the post office, I believe.
Oh, really?
And you can see that on this, read that on the sign in the picture, I believe.
Maybe. Yep, Kentucky Photo Company.
It was right over, kind of like behind your office over there.
Wow. And then this is,
What is that?
or maybe it just got stuck in there. I don't know. Take a look at it.
If there's anything about him in it. I don't see anything about him in here.
Maybe that just got stuck in there from something else. It has traveled back and forth, and there's been several people look at it since we've had it. So, we'll just lay that to the
Did you
side.
I'm not sure.
A warm bunch.
Mm-hmm.
That is hilarious. This looks like when he was,
Comrades,
yeah.
Camp Meade? Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
Camp
yeah,
Meade,
when he was in the
Pennsylvania.
military.
How about that? So he
That's so funny.
Here's Private O'Reilly. Well, you think about how
Oh.
they-
Oh, yeah.
preparing the morning meal, always hungry. So he has some of his military pictures.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And the little things he's put underneath them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The time he took.
He was head waiter at that joint for a few weeks only, the Climax Restaurant.
Where was it?
Let's see.
Doesn't say.
He was the head waiter. No, I'm not seeing.
No.
Printing, that was one of his unsuccessful business endeavors.
Oh, really? And there's a Miss Ann Woods down here too.
That's
She looks a little older, maybe.
little photo booth pictures.
Yeah. There's his business college degree.
Life scholarship. my
Wow.
word.
He must have been pretty smart too.
Mhm.
Maybe he was just way too people friendly to be a real great business person. Not that business people aren't friendly, but you
Or
know.
too trusting.
Yeah, but yeah.
Great it's a letter of recommendation.
Yep.
Just the carbon paper would have been pretty popular then, I guess.
Oh, that probably was amazing, you
Yeah.
know? The Grafton Bank. They worked there too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he was a cashier.
That's a big job, the
Yeah.
cashier.
Mm-hmm.
Montgomery Bank.
He could
Assistant
get around, didn't he?
cashier at this bank for a few months. Yeah, he moved around quite a lot,
Yeah.
really. Uh-oh, what's this say about
This
funds?
is a funds missing. I was trying to read earlier.
Yeah.
It doesn't mention him in it though, so.
Oh, before he left, before
Yeah.
that occurred.
Yeah.
Shoo.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yes, nobody wants to be
This
part
would
of
have
No.
been before FDIC,
it. Yes.
Yeah.
the Jackson Comedy
Company.
Company again.
That's the pickles one that makes pickles.
Great.
I would love to get a
A copy
copy of that
player?
script, yeah.
The Man from Maine.
There's another picture of him.
Oh,
It looks like, isn't that him?
it looks like, yeah.
Wow. He began working for Mr. maybe, I don't know if it's an N or an R. B&T. Oh, maybe the railroad?
Mr.
Second.
Not sure.
Me neither.
Looks like B&T Company.
Which would that have been?
Banking and Trust.
Yeah,
Oh, I was thinking a
Yeah.
railroad.
that makes sense.
That would be B&O, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Soap and Suds Company.
The Geese, Grouse, and Soap and Suds Company. That's a good, no, that's a name. This is a neat picture.
Oh, the theatricals?
Yes,
Yeah,
uh-huh.
yeah.
More of his pictures and, are there actually things in here?
No.
Something that-
It looks
this one
like he
does.
kept not only the letter, but the envelope that the
Yes.
letter arrived in.
I mean, maybe they were originally there, because there's one in here.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
oh my gosh,
I know you have to
I
be
shouldn't have
so
touched it. Like,
old paper.
I
So,
know.
and yet it's better paper than we have now. So you
Yeah.
imagine what our paper is not going to hold up like this.
No. There's Beverly Bank. Didn't do much good.
It didn't do much good. Dash no.
No.
So evidently that didn't work out.
Was Maud another one of his girlfriends, you think?
Evidently, he's got a
Oh
picture
my
of her.
Here he is stargazing.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, I was somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm
it's him.
assuming.
Yeah. Another
See, there's
letter.
more of them with the things in them.
At this point, he's still on his ascension, on his way up here,
Yeah.
going to the different banks around the state.
The Miners and Merchants Bank. That's where he.
That's in Thomas.
That's
the
where
one-
he did the best. He was there almost 2 years.
And I've seen a photo of that. It was an impressive bank building in Thomas. I've seen a copy of that.
I think there's still a bank of that name up there.
There was an article on him in the paper about him where he started work there.
Oh,
That's kind of cool. Is this where Lena was at? In Thomas?
I believe she was in Tucker County, yes.
yeah, it was. More theatricals.
Yeah.
Are these in Ripley or in Thomas?
This one says.
No, it says Thomas.
Does it? Okay. At Spencer's Flashlight.
Mm-hmm.
It was elegant, some of that stuff too, some of the,
I know.
we've lost a lot.
Yeah, I know. I think of that a lot.
Georgia Randolph Bank is the cashier. So he's working at Randolph.
He worked at two different banks in Randolph County, one in Beverly and one in Elkins, I believe.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
It amazes me how much people 100 years ago moved around.
Oh, here we go. It's in a little
This
map.
was the band in Ripley, and if you read the names on there, some of the most prominent names in the history of Ripley are included on that.
Is that on
Is
there?
it Vale?
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Jones, Riley, Jones, Vale, and is that Crow? What is this?
Could be Crow.
Crow would have been a prominent name
Okay.
here as well.
It looks like there was 2 R's. I don't know. Doesn't take much.
Well,
Sometimes to mess up my spellings. I don't know.
well, right. If you've written it in ink.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's when you do misspell it, when you write it in ink.
True. Ooh, look at this.
He goes to Texas?
Accepts,
It's a pipe dream, though.
well, it says Otmer Riley accepts a lucrative position in the South. What does it say at the bottom?
From the Randolph Enterprise, Elkins. But he has above it pipe dream, so maybe it didn't pan out. I don't
He must
know.
have accepted it and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, that's
There's a
interesting.
lot of stuff in here.
Mm-hmm.
Quite the newsmaker.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he was in the paper a lot.
And at this point, he's still in his, mid to late 20s?
Yeah.
What is this?
Narrow escape from drowning. 2 popular young ladies go through the ice but are bravely rescued.
Miss Frances Riley.
Riley, daughter.
One of his sisters.
Sister almost,
Almost drowned.
wow.
So he actually did, wow, that is very creepy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Have to add that to Suzette's script.
Yeah.
Because I almost lost my daughter to drowning in through the ice. What happened to him? What did they
It
say? Can you
says-
read it?
It says Miss Frances Riley and daughter of Mr. and Miss W.W. Riley and Miss Mamie Clinton, daughter of Mr. J.D. Clinton, got an involuntary bath Saturday afternoon in Mill Creek's icy waters at their imminent peril. They were of a skating party on the mill pond, had taken off their skates and started homeward. Eugene Crow had preceded them over an insecure spot in the ice and had just turned to warn them when they broke through. Miss Clinton was rescued by Mr. Crow after sinking into her chin, but Miss Riley went under, some say twice, and had given up the fight when Mr. Fred Carstens, advanced agent of the Wonder Stock Company, sprang under and saved her from at the risk of his own life.
Wow.
Wow.
So she literally almost died.
Yeah. That's so bizarre. And in Mill Creek, too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. The same family.
Yeah. Wow. Kind of gives you cold chills.
Yes. All this ice talk.
Yeah, I know.
Wow. Word.
The Glenville Beauties. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the band from the Army, Camp Meade.
Huh.
And this,
Another woman.
yeah, Millie Courtly Sutton. She's really pretty. It's a tiny little picture there. I don't know where this is at, do you? That's the house of their grandfather, R.R. Riley.
Wow. No idea where that was.
This has from somebody in Elkins, but maybe that's just where the picture came from.
I
There's
think
the,
there's a missing picture there.
yeah,
It's another house.
yeah. A dear friend, Stuna, J.L. I would have thought it would have been strong, but maybe I'm just,
Now, what's this?
this is Mr. Del K. Hood Jr.,
Oh.
a chum of boyhood days and
The
dear
Hood
old
family
Ripley.
owned the mill in Ripley.
Oh, really?
Right,
It was the
right.
McGrew and Hood family owned the mill close to where the Ripley Volunteer Fire Department is now.
he in blackface?
He does. He was
Ah.
an actor and a lawyer.
Huh.
Champ is an old chum. Actor, lawyer.
Here's his military buddies.
Yeah. He's got other names too.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
You know, that genealogists
Yeah.
would like that. It's all the names. That's where you find the old pictures, but getting the names is so hard.
Yeah. There was a crow from Ripley. That's a
Wow.
good picture.
That's an envelope of nice new stuff there.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotten that reproduced. That's surprising, isn't it?
And a bunch of,
These things. Isn't that surprising? Who did that?
I don't know. That's a,
Is there a date on it?
no.
No date?
It's a really good picture of him. More appropriate. He or the mysterious one, which this one, he was in this one as the part of Coxey. It's kind of interesting that he was in that one, and his whole life was kind of mysterious near the end.
Yeah. And her flower.
Is that from West Union in Doddridge County?
Yes, it
indeed.
is.
And then you see where he was staying at the New Columbian Hotel.
Yeah,
Because he noted in a lot of his things where he was staying at the time.
which is the
This
information
is
here
the
is
beginning of the end,
right here.
where he leaves banking and works in the grocery company.
Oh, okay.
Right? Much of an ego artist, is that what it says? Or an egg artist? Very much of an,
An egg artist, yeah.
is he in that? Yeah.
Yep.
Looks like he has a starring role, he's near the top.
Yeah.
Wonder what year that was, it doesn't say.
1905.
Huh?
There.
So he was
That
back,
is close to the end, yeah.
but he got a starring role, so
That's pretty
gosh.
cool.
He was still functioning
Yeah.
in that picture. Is
me
that dated?
1905, December. So that was, I mean, if he died in February of 1906,
Yeah.
this was really close.
Close to the end.
Yeah,
Yep.
look at his eyes.
You could almost see depression.
Yeah, you can see the eyes. It's just this picture here, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, you can see.
Which is sad.
Mm.
But that's also when he lost all those people.
Mm-hmm.
It says, this is the way Otmer looked when he died.
Look at here. A small jolly from my friend Sign. A bouquet from the home of Senator Elkington. There he is. There's a picture of Otmer.
That's wild. There's the grocery store.
It was it was a wholesale grocer, so it wasn't
It
like
was-
just a store. It
yeah,
was
it was-
They sold groceries to grocery stores.
right. So it was
Oh,
a,
so it was a big,
it
it
was
was
probably a pretty big
yeah.
outfit, yeah. But it wasn't banking.
the last. That's his sister.
Oh.
Mm.
Here she is.
Yeah.
Oh, she was very pretty.
She doesn't look much like him though, as much as I would
No.
have thought.
No. This is all her obituary. and
Yeah.
things.
Very much this is the demise. This is
This is,
the dark part of his life.
She was certainly a beautiful lady.
she was.
Oh,
Oh, I'm scared to
that
touch
was
this.
that silk.
Yeah.
I would leave.
That's the baby,
Oh dear.
his little nephew.
Mm.
This
Oh.
is a lot of tragedy all at once.
It was a little boy baby too.
Yeah.
That's probably hurt even more so in a way, you know, because he
Yeah.
had
All married or engaged. Too bad. That's his ladies. About 6 old flames. They're pretty women.
yeah, he didn't lack for pretty ladies.
No, he didn't.
More theatrical.
I was gonna open it up and see what. It's a Gazette,
What is it?
Ulster County.
Ulster County? Where is it?
Not sure where that is.
I don't either.
Or why he has it?
I have to
in there. That's
read that more,
interesting.
yeah. There's a lot of stuff in here. Some old Parkersburg friends. Notice
Oh,
the
girls.
ladies again.
Whole pages of ladies, like he gathered them all up.
Yeah, he had a collection.
Yeah, but, I mean, this is toward the end of his scrapbook, so he's
Yeah.
gathering all his conquests.
You know, it's almost like he knows something's up
Yeah,
because there's a lot of memories
yeah.
at this point.
Put him, of course, he was home and rested,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe,
Maybe he had more time.
yeah.
This is what one would call a heartbreaker.
That was the letter from Lena, I believe, where
Yeah.
Oh,
she invited him to her wedding.
oh no.
This is what one would call a heartbreaker.
Yeah. That's kind of sad. Oh no. It's not attached.
No, just lay it there. Is that
Yeah,
sad?
there's that. Yeah, he does look sad.
Calling cards from many
Old
women.
friends, yeah.
Many women.
Yeah.
Mostly, are there any men in there?
I don't see.
I don't see a one.
I don't either. It's all miss. Some of his other.
You get the idea that
I thank you guys for coming and sharing this with everyone. If you have ideas for future tidbits of history or any other ideas, I would appreciate it. Thank you for coming.
All right. Well,
Thank you.